Hey y'all, I'm the Baking Baron, and today I want to share with you a recipe for some really good hot chocolate. This is not your typical hot chocolate. This is a very thick hot chocolate, and it's cooked with cornstarch. The recipe is actually called Italian hot chocolate. When I did some more research, I found that Italians do like their hot chocolate thick, almost like a pudding. You can add in flavorings at the end to make it peppermint, or if you want to just add some vanilla, or both, that will round out the flavors very nicely. So you want to start with a saucepan, and I have over here a portable burner, but otherwise you want to do this on the stove. And you want to put in here 1 cup of granulated sugar. This is a very rich, sweet hot chocolate, so this isn't something that you would drink all the time. I mean, you could, but it's more of a special occasion kind of thing, because it's so rich and sweet. Then you want to add 1/2 cup of unsweetened cocoa powder. You want to whisk this together until it's combined. And then you want to mix together. I have 1/2 cup of just regular water right here. You want to add 2 tablespoons of cornstarch to this, and then stir that together really well. It's important that you do this because when you dump in cornstarch to the mixture, it will clump if it's not dissolved first. The best thing I find to do this is with a fork. So just stir that together, kind of pushing the lumps out if lumps don't want to dissolve. We'll turn kind of a milky white. Kind of scrape along the bottom because sometimes you can get pockets of cornstarch. I think I did 2 tablespoons. So just mix that all up. Then add this to your saucepan with the sugar and the cocoa powder. And then whisk this together and it will form a paste. And at this point it kind of smells like brownies. It's so good. So get that all whisked around. And then you want to cook it over medium heat while you're whisking. So get it on the heat, making sure you get it all stirred together. And then add 4 cups of whole or 2% milk. You can make this with skim milk, but it's not going to thicken up as much. And with whole milk, it's really thick and rich. But if you want to cut back on calories, I would recommend using the 2% because it will be just fine with 2%. So whisk the milk into that mixture while it's on the heat. We have 4 cups there. But then you want to bring this mixture to a simmer. Now, not a full boil, like a rolling boil, but just until you have some bubbles. You're going to have some foam. If you let this boil, it will foam over. So you have to be careful and keep an eye on it. So just continue whisking. You don't have to whisk it constantly, but whisk it often enough so the bottom doesn't burn. It is quite a rich mixture until it comes to a simmer. So you just kind of sit here. So that's all whisked together, so that can kind of heat up. Now, when this mixture comes off the heat, you can add, I love peppermint flavoring in my hot chocolate. So this is peppermint oil. You can use peppermint extract if that's what you have. Peppermint oil is extremely concentrated and you will only need a few drops. If you use peppermint extract, you'll need about 1 to 2 teaspoons depending on how pepperminty you want the mixture. Then you can add some vanilla. Usually about 1/2 teaspoon to 1 teaspoon. You can add just vanilla at the end, or you can add peppermint and vanilla. You don't have to add vanilla, but it rounds out the flavors very nicely. Oh, this is heating up. So just whisk that together. It smells like brownies. It is so good. So it'll take like 10 minutes for it to get to a simmer. You don't want to heat it up too quickly because it will burn to the bottom. So I'm just going to let this heat up, and then we'll probably be back in a second to see how the progress is doing, because that just needs to heat up and come to a simmer. Okay, so the mixture is at a simmer, and I turned the heat down a little bit because it started to boil. So you want to make sure you're thoroughly whisking the bottom, and then when it gets to the simmer stage, hold the simmer for about 10 minutes. You don't have to cook it that long if you don't want it as thick. You can cook it about 5 or so minutes, but it is worth it to go the full 10 minutes because it seems to develop quite a bit of flavor and also gets very thick, and it's just divine to drink when it's thick like that. But some people don't like it thick like that, so you can just quit simmering at about 5 minutes. We will come back when the mixture is done and we need to add the flavorings, and I'm going to put this in a pretty little cup. You just see it all done. I wish you could smell it right now. It smells so good. Okay, so the mixture has been simmering for 10 minutes. Now I have been whisking it the whole time, so whisking constantly. I know you're thinking that's a lot of work for hot chocolate. It's so good and worth it. Once you taste it, you'll be like, oh, I'm so glad I whisked it for 10 minutes. So I'm going to turn this off, and now you want to add your flavorings. Now I like this to be peppermint hot chocolate, so I'm going to use the peppermint oil. Now peppermint oil, because it's so volatile or concentrated, you want to be careful when you measure it, because an extra drop can be way too much. So I like to use 1/8 of a teaspoon measure, and watch to get about 1 to 2 drops, which is about 1/2 of 1/8 of a teaspoon. And that will do pretty good for this size batch. You can double or triple the batch size, so then use like 4 to 6 to 8 drops of peppermint oil. So that doesn't look like much, but it will be pepperminty. And after you add that, taste it, because the peppermint, it will lose some of the peppermint flavor as it cools. Woo! You can smell that peppermint. Then you want to add about 1/4 of a teaspoon vanilla, so I'm going to add 2/8 of a teaspoons. Just a little bit vanilla. Just a little, oops. A little extra splash there. Just a little splash, it's going to round out the flavors. With the vanilla and the chocolate and the mint. It's to die for. So whisk that all together. Now, this mixture is going to be extremely hot, so you always think, oh, it doesn't look that hot until you go to drink it and you burn your tongue off. So I'm going to get a little, oh, my cup's over here. Get this pretty little cup and saucer. So when you have something that's good, you want to showcase it well. I have a ladle. You just ladle it into your cup. This is excellent with marshmallows in it. And you just gotta see this, let me tell you. Can you see that? Can you see? Look at it. It's like chocolatey, it's steaming, it smells divine. It's like drinking a brownie. You can, imagine eating a brownie, drinking a brownie. Oh, you gotta get in your kitchen and try this. It is so worth whisking it. Remember, you can double it, triple it. I don't know about quadruple. If you have a pot big enough, quadruple it by all means. And, this peppermint oil, I tell you, we've had this bottle laying around here for years, so it'll last you a while. You use it in all different kinds. A drop in anything, spice it up. Well, I'm the Baking Baron, and I hope you will get in your kitchen, whip up some hot chocolate. Just want to see that chocolatey. Thank you for watching. And get in there and make some hot chocolate.